There's a unique and often painful kind of pressure that comes, not from what's happening around you, but from what seems to no longer be happening at all. It's the pressure of God's silence, the unanswered prayers, the unreturned cries, the lingering stillness that makes you wonder if your words are just hitting the ceiling and falling back down. We expect God to move in obvious ways. We want clear signs, immediate breakthroughs, and undeniable answers. But what happens when the heavens feel closed and God's voice grows faint or disappears altogether? When the spiritual noise turns to quiet, and the loudest thing in your life becomes the echo of your own questions. In these moments, doubt knocks loudly. Fear begins to whisper, "Did God forget me? Am I being punished? Maybe I misunderstood his promise. What if nothing is changing ever?" But here's the truth that Scripture teaches, and experience confirms. God's silence is never God's absence. Just because you can't hear him doesn't mean he's not near. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean he's not working. Throughout the Bible, some of God's greatest moves were preceded by silence. For 13 long years, Joseph sat in prison, no visions, no dreams, no visible fulfillment of God's promise. Yet all that time God was positioning him for sudden elevation. Between the Old and New Testaments, there were 400 years where heaven seemed silent, and yet during that time, God was orchestrating world events to prepare the perfect time for Christ's coming. In the Garden of Gethsemane, even Jesus wrestled with silence as he prayed 3 times, asking for the cup of suffering to pass. But heaven remained quiet as the plan of redemption unfolded. God speaks loudest in the stillness. It's in the silence that he draws us closer, not with words, but with presence. Sometimes he's teaching us to walk by faith, not by sight. Sometimes he's refining our spiritual ears, training us to listen for his whisper instead of his shout. Sometimes he's building a resilience in us that shallow faith cannot produce. This is the space where trust is no longer theoretical. It's where your heart learns to cling to what God said before the silence started. It's where you grow roots that won't be easily shaken. In the waiting room of God's silence, you're not being forgotten, you're being fortified. Behind the scenes, God is aligning people, opportunities, and circumstances. He's weaving together details you can't see yet. He's protecting you from premature blessings that your current capacity couldn't handle. And when the silence finally breaks, when the door opens,